Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Ollie, and today we've got Mike on the live chat. Okay, so today we're going to be running through mailers. So, what is a mailer, and how you can use that as a Prima dealer. Okay, so if you've got any questions during or after the session, Mike will be on the live chat today. So please feel free to put any feedback or ask any questions as well. Okay, so what is a mailer? So as you can see on screen now, a mailer is a group of products in which you can offer a net or margin-based promotion. So against a certain product or products, you can basically set whether it's going to be a selling price or a margin. So traditionally these are a subset of products from a full publication from your supplier as part of a dealer group promotion. So you can get these kind of mailers from likes of Vow, Spices, Dams, etc. and also from the likes of Office Friendly, Superstar and so on. Mailers can be provided by a supplier, dealer group, or can be manually created as well, bespoke to your business. So as an example of that, you could be creating your own mini catalogue of products that you've got from down the road. Anything like that, you can basically bespoke it to whatever you want to. So you can build these kind of flyers, if you like. So when you've got your catalogue, say it's like an Argos or something, you've got your big kind of hardback copy with 20,000 products in, but then you've also got your little flyers with your kind of 50 products in, or it doesn't have to be 50 products, it could be 100, 1,000, 2,000, as much as you want to. So it's all bespoke and you can have it whatever you need it to be. Okay, so how you get a mailer into Prima, or how do you get one? So next image. So how do I get my supplier or dealer group mailers imported into the system? So if you are a member of a dealer group or you've got supplier mailers that you're wanting to use, you'd request the mailer file from our data team. So on screen there you can see the data at primasoftware.co.uk. So once you've then requested that file, our data team will then process the file and send it through to you on a PDC file. So with the mailer file, it's the same as kind of the import routine for importing products or manual terms files or anything you're wanting to do kind of via an Excel spreadsheet into the system. It would then be through this import routine, which I'll run through as well today. Okay, so how do I create my own mailers? So manually in Prima Cloud, which I'll cover as well, via the Mailer Grid manager, and also via the import template as well. Okay, so moving on to the live screen, I'll run through the first one there, which is manually in Prima Cloud, creating a mailer. Okay, so on screen here now, where you would go to, so in Publications and Mailers. Within your system, this is then going to be any mailers you've imported or created previously will be in the list there. So you can see a few examples of some mailers that we've got available in the mailer lookup here. There are others as well that you can request from our data team. So from here then, so if it was the case that you were using the Office Life or the Dams mailer as an example, you double click into those, click search, and then from there then you can see the full list of mailer products. So what you can do to create a new one, if you're wanting to do a manual one, is in this kind of mailer name at the bottom, highlight there, click the new icon, and then from there then you can call that whatever you want to. So I'll call this one the test mailer. What you can also do with mailers is enter a start and end date. So as an example, a perfect example which I'll run through today is Black Friday is coming up. So what you could do is have a mailer prepared for Black Friday, have that started on the 22nd or the 23rd I think it is this year, and then from there then set an expiry of the day after. So then as soon as then the day is over, the kind of mailer promotion would then be over as well. Okay, so from the start date then you can select in exactly when you're wanting to start. So we're going to start this one on Monday, and the expiry date will then be whatever you want to. So let's say for example end of November. So once you're happy with that, click save, and that then creates kind of a manual mailer in the system with no products on. So then from here then we can double click into the mailer, and then if there was products, click search and they would list in here then. So if you are wanting to add kind of one by one manually in Prima Cloud, you can hit the new icon in the top left, and then from here then you can search for your products. So as an example, if I just search for some punch buckets, run a search and that'll pull through. So we've got a few different options in here, so you can see likes of the code pulling through, system number which is just a reference, and you've also got this mailer code option. So the mailer code, you can put in some sort of prefix or suffix onto the code itself, or you can call it something completely different. But the reason why I would put a mailer code in is because against the company, you've got this section called direct mailer pricing. So they have to enter in that mailer code to be able to qualify for that pricing, which we'll come on to that in further detail later on. So mailer code here doesn't have to be the same as the KF24001. It can be anything. If you're wanting to use like if they quote from this mailer that they've got in front of them, then that is the price that they'll pay, regardless of any other pricing or any cheaper pricing in a different mailer or a different area of the system. Okay. From there, then it pulls through your invoice description from the product, and then coming down here, another option you've got now is pricing rule. So whether it's going to be the standard pricing or a markup or margin. So this is fairly new in the system. I think past probably 6 months, 9 months, maybe it was now, where effectively rather than having a net price mailer, you can have a mix of whether they're set to a certain margin as well. So a perfect example of that, one customer's got a margin mailer for toners. So rather than using the pricing bands or the kind of the traditional way of pricing your products, they've got a mailer for all the toner products from Vow, and then put them on, say, the 30% margin, for example, just on those products, apply them to all the accounts, and then from there then is a different way of managing your pricing. So mailers in the system can be used for kind of promotions and stuff like that, but they can be used as another method for kind of pricing your customers as well. So another example could be the full Vow catalogue of 20,000 products, kind of manually pricing those in an Excel spreadsheet, doing your formulas that way, and then importing that as a mailer with the price. That way then you kind of got a full kind of list, then you can say, well, actually I'll look at my spreadsheet, see what the price is, and that's the price you're paying, or using your price check in the system, of course. Okay, so pricing really got the option of either a set selling price, so if it was standard pricing, entering a sell price there, or if it is going to be a markup or a margin, again, either or depending on the system key in your system, normally margin. From there then you would say, right, okay, on this product I want to make sure that I make 30% margin on the products. Okay, and you can use these kind of margin calculators as well to work out your price. Okay, so once you're happy with that, hit the save icon, and that then saves that product onto your mailer. So from here as well, you've got links to the stock products and also equivalent items and catalog items too. Okay, so if I close out of there now and hit the search, that product's then in the list under this code. So if they entered that code on the web store, if they entered that code in the system, if you did it rather, that price then would pull through if it's applied against the account. So I'll run through apply mailers to companies as well later on in the session. Okay. What you can also do, rather than kind of adding in manually one by one into the mailer, if you've got 50 products or 100 products, could be quite time consuming. What you can do is use the mailer grid manager. So this little kind of cog icon here is the symbol for the grid manager. So you can come into here and then run a search then on a certain mailer. So it could be the case, let's have a look, we're looking at the test mailer, run a search, and then from here then, in the result, you can see this is the product that pulls through. In the change tab here, you can then update the selling price if you want to. So I'll come back onto this bit shortly, but if you're wanting to add from existing mailers into this test mailer, so let's say the Q directory mailer, we're adding items from here into our kind of bespoke mailer. What you can do is run a search on that mailer, pulls through the 1600 products, go to the result tab, and then from here it could be the case that you say, right, okay, these items at the top I want to add on to my bespoke test mailer. So you can highlight them, right click, invert the selection so it highlights all the rest of them, remove those 1598 products from the list. May take a few seconds to do, obviously due to the volume of the products, and then from here then I'm left with the 5 that I'm going to be changing now in the mailer grid manager. So in the change tab, add items to this mailer, add it to the test mailer, and apply. So that is kind of from one mailer to another one. There are other ways to add multiple products onto a mailer at once as well through like an import routine, which I'll come to shortly, but I'll cover the full mailer grid manager and what you can do with that as well. So if I hit apply now, those 5 products have been added into that test mailer in the system as well. Okay, so if I'm wanting to manage that test mailer in kind of increasing the selling price by a certain percent or a certain value, what I can do now is run a search on test mailer, go into the result tab, and I can view then, right, these are all the products in my mailer, these are the selling prices if they're set, obviously this one's set to a margin one instead, invoice description and so on. Into the change tab then, what I can do is tick this update selling price to, and then from here then you can increase or decrease. So increase by a set amount, so 10p, 50p, or increase by the set percentage of 2%, 5%, whatever it may be, and also the same in decreasing the price as well on the mailer. Okay, another option you've got here is updating the mailer code. So if I tick update mailer code 2, you've got the option for a prefix or also a suffix. So a code in front of the original code, or at the end of the code is the prefix and suffix. So if I said, right, okay, all these products, they start with KF at the moment, but I want them to start with, let's say, OR, for example, then I can put a prefix of OR into there, hit apply, and all those products then in my list will pull through with the OR and then the KF, etc. Onto the code. So if I hit apply now on that, that'll update all the products in the list. So coming back to the mailer code here, mailer list, sorry, you can see then the prefix on those codes as well. So when you are applying these mailers to an account and you tick direct mailer pricing, that would then pull through this price if this mailer code is quoted for those products, regardless of any other price in the system for this product. Okay. So final thing in the mailer grid manager that you can use is deleting products in bulk. So what you can do, rather than kind of going in, so if I just move this to the side, sorry, rather than going in, highlighting, delete, highlight, delete, you can run a search on the test mailer, into result tab, and let's say for example we're wanting to keep those 5, so you would remove them out of this result tab, because whatever's in the result tab is what you're changing. So this code here, go into the change tab, delete mailer lines, tick that, and that would then remove any selected lines in the result tab from that mailer, hit apply, and that's then gone from the mailer in the system. Okay. So what I'll do now, I'll just put you on to the benefits of the mailer and what they can do for Prima, and I'll just mute the microphone while I'll just get the import template, just 1 second. Okay, so moving on to the next one then. So the mailer import in the system, so I'll come back to the benefits, sorry, of the mailer in just a moment. So back onto the live screen now. So I've got this mailer template here that I've populated before the session, but if I just click into there, I'll show you exactly how that looks. So in terms of the actual kind of mailer import template, you can request this from our customer service team. We can send that over to you, and you've got that then to use for mailer imports in future. So what you can do in the system effectively is generate an Excel spreadsheet with a list of products, list of the mailer name it's going to be going in as, and then import that via an import routine rather than kind of one by one creating those in the system. So a few of the fields in here that you'll see, so if I just extend those slightly, so you've got PG code. PG code probably won't make much sense to you guys as Prima users, but basically what that is in Prima, against your mailers, you've got this thing called PG code. So it's just a way that the system recognises exactly where that's going. So if I was updating the test mailer, I'd have to put this user 63 in the PG code there. If it's a completely new one that you're creating, you don't need to worry about that PG code. It's just if you're overriding kind of the existing mailer in the system. So PG code, if it's a new mailer, ignore that. PG name is actually the mailer name. So this one I'm doing here is just a test one for Black Friday, and then your start and end dates here you can put in your 23rd of November 2018, end date 24th of November 2018 as well. For the date at the moment, what you need to do is basically format those to be year, month and day, just a way for the system to recognise then the date dropping into the system and how it formats it. So just a quick way to do that, you can highlight them, right click, format the cells into date, and then from here then you can go to year, month and day, hit OK, and then that's then formatted for you. So it's just a dead simple way to do it. You can highlight them, do it in bulk, and then once you've saved that as a CSV file as well, drop that into the import template. So as an example here as well, you've got your standard code, got your mailer code as well, which I mentioned, the direct mailer pricing, which we'll come on to shortly too. Invoice description will pull through from the product if it's in the system already. Unit price has to be numeric, so if it is an individual or an each, then it has to be the number 1. If it's a pack of 5, it has to be the number 5. Price would be applicable if the pricing rule is set to S, so that's selling price on a net price. If that was changed to the letter M, which is for margin, then you would need to populate this field rather than this one. So depending on what you've got set in your pricing rule, if it is S, it would be this column you fill in here, or if it's M, it would be this section here. You can have mixed on the templates as well. page number if applicable. If you've got like a mini flyer in front of you, page 1, page 2, page 3 for example, then you can put that information into. Okay, so once you've saved that, you can go to the mailer import here, copy that over, and then what you need to do is on your computer that's running the EDC, you need to go to your C drive, into the Prima v6 folder, and into your import. So for those of you that have not done an import template before, this is the location where you can import any file into the system, such as company data, contact, locations, stock products, things like that, and of course the mailer as well. So you can drag and drop it if you want to, or you can right click and paste into that directory as well. Okay, so what happens is in the system is your EDI or EDC, whatever you prefer to call it, will then be running in the background, which this one is only set for imports, that's fine, and that will then collect the file and import that into the system, as long as of course the template is all correct in terms of the format. Okay, so if I just search in here now or refresh, it's not been picked up just yet, but once it does pick that up in here, then refresh the system, and then your 3 products for that Black Friday mailer will be inserted into the system with a PG code the system gives it, so user 64 is probably what it will give it, and then also the start and end date that you put into that template too. Okay, so once you've got your mailer set up in here, say for example this Exertis mailer here, if we go into there, run a search, and you've got a handful of customers that you wanted to give this mailer to, or all of your customers for example, what you can do is from here now, if you go into company, into companies, you can go into each individual client and apply that mailer to it. Otherwise you can use the mailer grid manager, but I'll come on to that shortly as well. So if I just go into my test company in the system, okay, and then from here then what you can do is on your product and pricing, you've got this section here at the top, so catalogs and mailers allowed in the system. So what I'll do is add publication, and then from the list then you'll have a list of catalogs and also mailers, and then find that in the list. So Exertis mailer is just there. Now you have got this option for markers available on the internet, but basically even if you stick that as yes and hit add, in the list it will show as no. So you can't actually put the Exertis codes or the Exertis mailer with the mailer codes onto the site, because the Exertis kind of catalogue will already be there if you are using that on your store of course. So basically what it will do, it'll pull through the mailer price based on the code that you're entering onto the store, but it'll be kind of hidden behind the lead code that it's on. So if it was a code in the Exertis mailer, so ABC123 for example, was in the catalogue and it's also in the mailer, that code would show already on the store. So it's just the price that falls behind it with this mailer if it's entered on, and of course if this account has this mailer applied to it. So if it was Ollie Rolls FC, I've got the mailer applied to me, and I enter that then on the Prima Go store, quoting for that code, the mailer price would pull through. If it was the case that I was ABC Company 123 and I entered in that code on the store, then because I don't have that mailer assigned to my account, that price wouldn't pull through for me. Okay, so another thing to note as well, as I mentioned earlier, is the use direct mailer pricing, is if you had a prefix on the code, so that example I did before with the OR KF24001, then if that was ticked, the customer would only get that price, and that price only, if they entered in that OR KF24001. So if they search KF24001, that wouldn't pull through then. So they'd have to search for that particular mailer code, and that would then pull through that mailer's price. And rather than using the pricing hierarchy instead of the kind of the contract prices, special offers, pricing bands, things like that, it would pull through the direct mailer pricing. Okay, so that's one way to add that in one by one. If you are using the grid manager, which is a much quicker way of adding that in, you can go into company grid manager here, run a search on your customers. So is it a certain town, a certain company type? So you could have a bronze, silver, gold, you could have a prospecting list mailer, things like that. So you can search on then, say for example your customers, and I'll just use my test account again just for quickness. Run a search, all the records in the grid would then pull through here. In your results tab you can see exactly who that is. In your change tab then in here, this is then when you're actually applying the publication. Find your mailer from the list, so it's going to be on this occasion the Black Friday one. If you want to use direct mailer pricing, if you're using the mailer codes, hit apply, and that publication would then be assigned to the 50 accounts or the 100 accounts that you've got in your grid, basically. Okay. So what is the benefit then of a mailer? So I know I showed this a little earlier, but what are the benefits to a Prima user? So you can group products together in one mailer and offer a net or margin based promotion to your clients. So it's a good way of putting a kind of 50 products or 100 products into a list and setting a net price or a margin price on the products and being able to apply that then kind of to your clients. So as I've put here, so some Prima dealers put a specific range on, such as toners, into a mailer on a margin rather than the traditional price and band structure. So from the feedback, so as an example, in the K band for some suppliers, it could be the case that 30% margin on some products is quite high versus some of the other products that fall into that price and band category. So using a mailer is a good way to kind of chop into the classifications, manipulate it in an Excel spreadsheet, put it into an import template, put it into the system, and then you've got kind of a way then to manage pricing in a slightly different way. It also enables you to manage various pricing lists where you can apply them at account level. So as an example, one customer's got a bronze, a silver and a gold for the full catalogue of VOW, for spices, for Exercis, whatever it may be, and then they then apply that to the accounts rather than using the pricing band. So then if they know for a fact on the silver mailer price file, then that would then be KF24001 would be £5 rather than the £6 on the bronze and the £4 on the gold, for example. So just a different way, of course, of managing those mailers too. Okay, so that is everything for today's session. If you do have any questions, myself and Mike will be on the live chat for a little while after the session. So yeah, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.